Hello everyone, this is Steve Cramer, UNCG Business Librarian with a requested video on how to create tables, including complex tables, within SimplyAnalytics. Let me switch over to screen sharing. And just a reminder to some of you that many of my research guides, including the one for MEHT, has a category for market data and mapping, and that's where you'll find SimplyAnalytics. And as some of you also know, I often emphasize the mapping feature of this database when I'm working with students because it's fun, it's visual, it's, I think, eye-catching. It's a good way to introduce the concept of segmenting geographies using data, in other words, GIS mapping of data. But this database also can make different kinds of tables, including detailed, complex, big tables, which you can download to Excel. Let me briefly show you 4 ways of doing that. So let me start off with a new project and need to pick a place. Do Boston. And you get just a starting choice of data. That's fine, we'll do that. Okay, so first way is what they call a quick report. I'm gonna click on New View over here near the far top right corner, New View, and I'm gonna find the quick report option. And let's just do Boston by itself. I don't want to compare it to the USA. And done, there we go. Demographic overview. So here are the core demographic or census kind of categories of population, gender, age, income, educational attainment, race, ethnicity, etc. It's a nice simple way to get started. I can add more places using location, either search for places. So here's Chicago added to this table. Or if you have already created a SimplyAnalytics account, which I usually recommend students do, it saves your searches. In other words, the recent locations, that's this kind of like a stopwatch icon. And I can quickly click on a few more cities, and then we keep adding more cities to this table, Charlotte, Greensboro. And also the star means favorites. If you've made a point of making certain places favorites, such as Mount Airy, then you can use those as well. And finally, there's also a housing detail category. If you're looking at how old a house is, rental costs, mortgage, do you rent or own, how big is the structure, there's a lot of housing data here too. So use the quick report for a quick demographic or a housing report summary. All right, that's number 1. Number 2, back to New View here, near the top right, something called Related Data table. Let me just do one place, keep it simple, and we'll just do the income data, but I'm going to change that. But notice, because and here's the point, whenever you use any one variable, anything related to it shows up. So here are all the income brackets, including at the bottom, the total income, household and personal. So that's an easy way to see what this does. Let me show you a different example though. I work with a lot of teams and students every year working on some project or entrepreneurship idea involving exercise, yoga and dance, or sports, such as basketball. I'm going to limit this to exercise and find a percentage of people that play basketball in the last 12 months. But notice once I pick this one variable, I will now have every exercise-related variable that this database covers in one table here. So archery, aerobics, backpacking, baseball, and so on. Pretty nice long list. So that's related data table. You find one variable, click it, and then you see all the related data comes up at the same time. And of course, I could, like we did last time, go in and add another city or two. And if you're not sure, like, what are the related data points, that's when I would go to data and just browse. And if you really want something involving transportation, come over here and how many cars do people own? How many people bicycle to work? How many people are paying for their cars, paying car payments? You can kind of browse and get a sense of what are the related data using these folders here too. All right, third choice, back to New View, comparison table. This is sort of just a DIY way to do this. So create, and yeah, we'll just do a bunch of cities, maybe 4 big cities. And I'm gonna just do one variable to start with to make my point more visible. Okay, so we got 4 places, 1 variable. Here's where I just simply add variables one at a time, add data points one at a time. So just to keep it simple, let me go back to my favorites here. These are gonna be kind of random because I work with, with lots of students, so my lists are kind of random, but that's all right. So I want to add expenditures on whiskey. How often do you do windsurfing? Probably not too often in Greensboro. That's kind of hard. Hearing aids, and so on. So you're just adding variables. I could do this using my recents as well, or again, I could go into data and browse by category or data folder and just find variables and just start clicking them off. So cereals, flour, one more example, cookies and crackers. And you'll see my table now has a dozen variables there. So that's just manually building your table. And again, well, not again, I'm not showing you this yet. For any of these tables, go up here to the top right, export, and you can download your tables as a spreadsheet to Excel. Okay, last example. Let's talk about comparing places. So how can I quickly get a list of many places at once? One way to do that, again, new view, ranking table over here. I'm going to pick a single place, and let's keep it simple again, just for the sake of this video. We'll just do income and then done. And default top 100 zip codes inside Boston. So here's a way to immediately get a list of 100, or at least how many zip codes. There probably aren't 100 zip codes. There's 32 zip codes inside Boston, according to this. Here they are. They're in numerical order. I can change that to organize the data, organize the rankings by the data. In other words, the richest zip codes first, 02110, and less rich as you go down the list. Or I can change this to neighborhoods, or to be more precise, census tracts, about 4,000 people. And now we may have 100 because Boston's a big city, so it has lots of these neighborhoods. Or block groups, which are even smaller. I could change this or just look up a new location of a state and rank all 100 counties in North Carolina, for example. Or I could look up the United States and rank all 50 states. So you can do any kind of ranking when inside the place you've chosen. So you choose a location and then you break it down using cities, zip codes, counties, census tracts, depending on the nature of where you're looking. 10 to 10,000, and then you sort it. You could have more than one variable and you sort it by one of those variables there. So that's it, 4 different ways of making tables you can download into Excel, in addition to making the colorful maps, SimplyAnalytics. Hope that helps. If you want to talk more about this, please let me know. Thank you all.